On this edition of the Law Firm Marketing Podcast, acclaimed US copywriter, journalist and ghostwriter Jeanette Raasch on writing great content, in particular some strategies on how to do it and even how to be inspired to do it. Thanks for joining me on this edition of the Law Firm Marketing Podcast, proudly brought to you by Grow Your Firm, the professional services marketing company that is helping law and accounting firms with their online strategy. If you need help with web strategy, design, or development, no matter where you are in the world, Grow Your Firm can help. Simply contact Grow Your Firm at www.growyourfirm.com.au, and if you're outside Australia, make sure you drop the .au at the end of that URL. Now, a big thank you to last week's guest, Kim Wright, who challenged lawyers to become more holistic in their models of practice in a way that not only provides excellent client engagement and therefore a great referral source, but also in a way that was kinder to the lawyer themselves. The movement, which is gaining a lot of traction, is called integrative law. And that podcast, if you haven't heard it already, is well worth a listen. We had a lot of great feedback from listeners, so if you haven't heard it, then I encourage you to do so at the Law Firm Marketing Podcast website or at iTunes. Last week I mentioned the Law Firm Marketing Masters series of podcasts, which includes literally the biggest names in the world on not only marketing your professional services firm, but managing it well in this current landscape. There's in excess of 7 hours worth of strategies, tools and techniques from those who are consulting to the most successful law firms in the world. The content is exceptional. We've just opened pre-registration at www.lawfirmmarketingmasters.com for those who want to get in early. And for your enthusiasm, if you go to the lawfirmmarketingmasters.com website and pre-register, you will receive some exclusive material as well as a subscription to the forthcoming publication, Fast Firms. Let's face it, generating content is an arduous and difficult task. The last thing that many of us want to do after or before a big day is to find some inspiration and write a 400-word blog post on the latest intellectual property case. Well, there's some good news and there's some bad news as well. The bad news is that since Google's last algorithm change, we are seeing Google starting to reward those firms who are generating content frequently. The bad news is, of course, that if your firm hasn't a commitment to publishing content, then you may well find that the sweet spot that you've acquired in Google search becomes ever so slippery and you just cannot hold it. Now, the good news is that acclaimed writer Jeanette Raasch has some strategies that may just make it easier for your firm to seriously publish great content consistently. Jeanette is an accomplished journalist who has written and ghostwritten more than 1,000 articles for electronic and print publications. In addition, she has written and ghostwritten more than a dozen books and numerous white papers. She has created keyword-rich content for more than a dozen websites and has worked and continues to work with lots of law firms all around the US. Thanks, Jeanette, for joining me on the Law Firm Marketing Podcast. It's great to have you with us.
It's great to be here. I thank you for the opportunity.
No, it's great to have somebody that can talk about content as well as what you can. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got interested in the business that you're doing at the moment?
Well, I have been working with lawyers, law firms, and other professional service providers for more than 30 years now. I started out as a journalist and a speechwriter, and taught journalism at Marquette University in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, USA, for 10 years. And we relocated to Denver, decided to focus a little bit more sharply on the legal niche. Prior to that, I'd been doing a lot of corporate histories and more general business writing. But coming out here, being a good marketer, I kind of saw the need to focus on a niche, and decided it was lawyers and law firms. That doesn't mean I don't do other kinds of work. It comes in too. And I tell my clients that when they say they don't want to focus. So you know what? It doesn't mean you're ruling anything out if you say that you do one thing particularly well.
Yes, true. You must have seen an amazing change over the 30 years that you've been doing this type of work. I mean, particularly with the online landscape, of course.
Oh, absolutely. When I started, it was, just the beginning of computers.
Yeah.
And word processing, as we called it then. When I was teaching at Marquette, I taught persuasive writing and graphic design. And when I started, I think it was like the third year, they said, okay, everybody has to come in and learn how to use these computers. Yeah. And so you had all the professors in there sitting around, trying to figure out something that they had to teach the students the next day. So that was kind of a shock. And I think, that really lets you know about the move from what I call the move from copy to content.
Yes.
When I started, it was the age of copy. And, when I really started, it was typewriters and through computers and then using computers to write for the traditional media.
Yeah.
And, then the explosion that occurred when, with the internet age,
yes.
which, the biggest result of which is, what I call disintermediation. You got rid of the middleman. If you wrote something, used to be, you had to send it and you wanted to publish it, you had to send it to a publication, and, the editor would deign it worthy or not worthy, and, mark it up and make changes to it, and maybe they would print it, maybe they wouldn't. And by the time it came out, it was usually out of date.
Yes, true.
Now, you're your own publisher.
Yeah.
The smart law firm is its own publisher, and or accounting firm, or any kind of professional services organization is you've skipped the middleman.
Yes.
And you can bring your work directly, not exactly face to face, but computer screen to your potential clients without having to jump through the hoop of an editor.
Jeanette, has there been, you talk about copy and content. What's the difference?
Well, I think of copy as being, the old journalism. Where you had copywriters and you had copy editors and
was it a different type of
copy
writing?
boys at the newspapers, and content is really any kind of electronic file that can be posted online and used to create or further your reputation.
Is the writing style different, Bud? I mean, in terms of, say 20 years ago when you were writing for newspapers to now writing online, is there a significant difference between the two?
There are differences, and some of them are kind of funny. At one time, you were taught